Hey guys, I hope that you guys are doing amazing wherever you are. Again, my name is Boom Shaka and I welcome you to my channel. Mostly I speak about INFJ stuff, which is a Myers-Briggs personality type in my videos and just my ramblings and thoughts on the matter, all these random things that we do that I realize I do because I'm a freaking weird INFJ, yeah? A lot of it's because I'm just not normal or I'm just crazy or I'm insane, whatever it might be. But I try to kind of bring in information about INFJs into this video. I hope you guys find it useful. Let me know what you think about it. In this video, I want to speak to you guys about how INFJs, especially in relationships, right? Very rare that we actually get into a relationship. But if we do, we're only happy if our partner is happy, right? So if our partner is unhappy, no matter if it's because of us or because of something outside of us, like it doesn't matter why they're unhappy. It might be because of us because we did something, very rare, but it might be something because of their job. They hate their job, or their mother's causing them a little bit of an issue, or their house is really a big mess and they're unhappy about that. Whatever it might be, right? There's a billion reasons for someone to be unhappy or miserable. And so if they are unhappy, we are unhappy. It's just a logical way of us looking at the world. There is no ifs, ands, and buts about it. There is no other thing. If you're going to be in a relationship with me and if you're going to be unhappy, I'm going to be unhappy. There's no other point of view about it, right? And so a lot of times I'd be in a relationship, I was in a relationship a long time ago, and the person would have moments where they hated their job and they were unhappy and they really wanted to do something different. They wanted to find something that they were passionate about. But, the job was really well paid and they didn't want to leave. And so they were a little unhappy at moments. And if they were unhappy, I spent a lot of my time being unhappy. And that's one of the reasons I think in my head I don't like being in a relationship, because a lot of people on this planet are miserable and I don't want to be around that misery. I am happy on my own and I just don't want to spend my time being unhappy because my partner is unhappy. And you know how hard it is to make someone else happy? It's impossible. If they're going to be miserable, they're going to be miserable. And so for us, it's like we're stuck in a loop where we're never going to be happy because our partner is never going to be happy and we're just going to be miserable for the rest of our life. I hated it. I did not want that. That's a reason, I think one of the main reasons we broke up was because of that. Because I couldn't deal with it anymore. I hated being unhappy all the time. And it wasn't like he would always say, it doesn't matter if I'm unhappy, you can still be happy. And I would think to myself, what are you talking about? Are you insane? Like, are you not listening to what I'm saying? Do you not understand my words? It is impossible for me to be happy if you're unhappy. It is impossible. It's literally an impossibility. I could more go through and deal with gravity and not fall down because of that, rather than like deal with this. I mean, I don't think that made sense. Okay, I'd rather deal with something that's impossible and make it possible than this being more possible. Again, didn't make sense. It's impossible, basically. I just can't do it. There's no way, two ways about it, right? Like, there is no way this could actually be possible. I can't. And I tried to explain it to him, and as you can tell, I'm not very articulate. And so I tried, I tried really hard. Like, no, it's not possible for me to do that. But of course, as you guys know, first of all, it's hard for us to explain ourselves to other people, especially if they're not an INFJ. And also, he is an ENTP, and even though he understood me in a lot of different ways, he still didn't understand this part, right? And he didn't understand that I needed him to be happy. I wanted him to be happy. I wanted to do as much, whatever I could to make it happen, right? I was like, why don't you just quit your job and I will support the both of us? He's like, no, I can't do that. I was like, you know what, let me make a really nice meal for you. Maybe that'll make you happy. That didn't work at all. I'd buy things for him all the time. Of course, that didn't work either. And so at the end of it, at the last point of it, I was like, okay, I think I need to leave this person, unfortunately, because I loved him so much still, but he was making me miserable. Now, a lot of you guys are listening, and perhaps you are in relationships and you're thinking, yeah, this is exactly what's going on with you. Of course, I'm not recommending that you break up with a person, but I do want to let you know that unless that person is if they're never going to be happy, you're not going to be happy. It's just an INFJ thing, and if you realize that fact after listening to me say this 5 times already in this video, then there are certain things that you can do in your relationship. Try to make your partner as happy as possible in other ways. Like, that's what I would try to do. There were moments where I would be able to go through and make him happy for a few hours, and that really, really was so gratifying to me. he would travel a little bit and he'd be ecstatic, or I'd make a really delicious meal for him and he'd be really happy for a few moments. And those moments were really precious to me because he would go back to being miserable, and I really tried to keep those moments of joy as much as possible, right? Because I knew that if I didn't, then we would always be miserable all the time. And I didn't want to be in a relationship and be miserable all the time. I am naturally a very happy person. I'm naturally a very optimistic, happy person. So for me to be in that kind of relationship where I'm unhappy all the time was really hard. And if you guys are noticing that for yourself as well, of course, again, I'm not recommending that you break up with a person, but if you work at it and you've done everything possible, it might be time to consider perhaps, letting this person go, because it's going to be really hard for you to be so miserable all the time. And it was really hard for me. I started resenting that person. Even though I loved him to death, I started resenting and hating him for making me miserable. It wasn't his fault. It was my own fault. It was my fault for letting his misery pervade me. But that's the way we are in a relationship. If our partner's not happy, we're not happy. That's the way it is. Now, again, I could be like, well, maybe you could change that. No, you can't. There's certain things that are like a law of nature. That's what I was trying to say. There's a law of nature, right? Just like gravity is a law of nature, I think INFJ being unhappy when their partners are unhappy, it's a law of nature. It's just the freaking way it is, all right? Now, again, I don't want to tell you guys what to do, but I want to share this little nugget with you because I've noticed a couple of you talking about it. And I noticed that for myself as well. Again, there are sometimes no solutions to some of these issues. We just have to deal with it as time goes on. And so I hope it makes sense to you guys. I'd love to hear from you guys. How are your relationships running? What kind of relationships are you in? And how do you guys deal with each other when you are miserable? Tell me about it. I'd love to hear from you. Again, if you guys have any suggestions for future videos or if you have any feedback, let me know. And I'll see you guys the next time around in the next video. Bye for now.